Dear ladies and gentlemen, fellow deplorables, a little bit longer video. I couldn't open for whatever reason, neither here, Rumble, whatever. It's they're usually allowed some interactivity, so I try it on YouTube with a little bit danger that yeah, maybe trouble ahead. So now I don't care so much about the time because there is no time limit as far as I know. So yeah, what I wanted to talk about is now the second part. The first one is already on my Gettr account. Uh, what was very interesting as well, when after the coup, after the fall of the wall, Egon Krenz made the coup d'état against Erich Honecker, and they agreed to put all the blame on him for whatever the people are angry about. And yeah, he was the best friend of Honecker until this time. And so he was ousted by his best friend and asking him to leave and going to Chile. And so there was a new man in charge there, and there have been already some talks between East and West Germany, and I have been in West Berlin at this time, about the reunification. So everybody could travel free at this time, except one person, me, you, eh, whatever. So don't ask me for an explanation. I have to think about it by myself. I don't want to invent anything, so I leave it like this. And yep, there was also something before when I tried to apply for the funeral of my grandfather, permission to visa to travel to East Germany before the fall of the wall. Then somebody, probably from the East German Stasi Secret Service, has sent me out a letter with a paper on it, and somebody who worked there in this office, similar to the function of an embassy in West Berlin. And so what was written and printed there without any other things, just printed there. No? So there was no sign that it's from a special office, whatever. Even everything else was blank, but given by this official person. And printed, your application to travel to East Germany has been refused according to an agreement between the Senate of West Berlin and the East German government. No? It was quite interesting. So it was later played down, and they told me in the Senate, oh, many people have received this disinformation war of East Germany. Not sure about this, not really sure about this. No, I simply don't know what was it about. And yep, and that's why I was the last who couldn't enter after the reunification. Of course, I could enter into East Germany, but until the end of the reunification, I was not allowed and was sent back as only one who was sent back on the border. Yep, so they really didn't like me somehow, so it started already in East Germany. And so West Germany, yes, in the same trouble. And what I figured out later, and what's an interesting point also to go into this, is I figured out that I have a red point by Interpol. So when you have I don't know if it still is there, I guess it is still there. So when you figure out what it's about, then it's usually, in most cases, considered for somebody wanted for arrest because of crimes, high crimes, so that Interpol is engaged in it. But this is not the only reason. This is what makes sense somehow. I notice about somebody wanted that you should give a notice, but it's not always like this. The countries, member countries, can apply for this red point or can give a red point to the others without further explications, but it can be used, and what I call an abuse, also for other people to be considered dangerous and to be watched. It leads often to discrimination because that's a signal via Interpol. This is a dangerous guy, probably wanted. Nah? This leads often, in fact, to arrests because they don't know if it's wanted or not. But there is no warrant until now, and there have never been a warrant address. It reminds me a little bit on your problem, Tulsi. And you are now the boss of all secret services in the United States. You can figure out the reasons. It would be nice not only for you, also for others. What was it about that you have been on a on the surveillance list for flights with plenty of marshals around you in civil uniform and specialists for bombs and whatever. So there may be some reasons behind it. No? You are now the boss in charge, no? For all secret services. So figure please out. It's also in other people's interest why you got on this kind of list. No? So there is an abuse on using these lists. And this can explain why Osama bin Laden wanted to talk to me when I was in and tried to hire me as a killer with a very good payment. Was weird for me, but he may have figured out who is on the who has a red point and on the Interpol list and therefore dangerous. And so was just a meeting between former state of enemies of state. He enemy of state of United States. I am former enemy of the state of East Germany. So let's meet and talk. So between enemies of the state, I don't know. So, but it may be a part of it. So this red point may explain some of the troubles I have as well. Because, but what's the reason? So there's nothing. There's no search warrant for me, and why I am considered so dangerous to put this red point, it remains in speculations, even for me. Once I've met somebody in Venezuela, in a country, and he told me he is somebody quite capable in way of fighting and martial skills. Let's say like this. And we had a small talk about this, and he mentioned to me that I get the red point probably because of my abilities, because he said that people with special abilities have a red point in the Interpol list and to be watched in case they do not cooperate with the government. When they have special abilities, cooperate with the government, they don't have a red point and they don't want them to be watched. But in many cases, when they think there is no opportunity to cooperate and they have special abilities, they get a red point just because of special abilities. And yes, I do have the special ability of common sense, and I do know that this is a superpower to have common sense and logical mind. Nowadays it is. Yes, that's maybe the superpower they're afraid of, common sense. Not sure about it. So I have to speculate by myself, as you see. And this may be one explanation, because in my investigations time I like to investigate, search on internet, and I've had some contacts with people who have powers when I got into research about extraordinary abilities. And it was even my university topic, so I have what you call in Germany Begabtenabitur. For talents, high school examen for talents, or something like this. It's difficult to translate. So you skip in the school years and last 2 school years. After you have 10 school years, you can make the high school degree, but usually lasts 13 years or 12 years, depending on the state. After 10 years school, you can skip them by showing that you have the abilities and in a special examen. And so you needed every state in West Germany has a different law. So I've done it in Lower Saxonia. In their law, it was required that you make a 1-year preparation at least instead of 2 or 3 years to prepare for the final examen. And if you pass it in the university, more specifically tailored to the subject you want to study, with general always German. It was in Germany, English. Then 2 topics about in theory and practice, 2 topics about the thing you want to study. And there must be, when you want to study science, something about arts, and when you want to study something with arts or philosophy, there must be something with science related, another topic to make an examen. Mathematics was always included as well. And you have a recommendation letter from a university professor that shows that claiming that you are able to pass the special examen for talents and that you are talented. So I didn't want to go 1 year to school. I don't like this. I'm a loner. I'm a lonely wolf or whatever you want to call it. So I like to learn by myself. And so I wanted to skip this 1 year. And so looking around, I've had some. I have to say that I've had some very constructive responses from some scientists, interesting scientists, for other topics, but I haven't contacted them about this, what I wanted, about this recommendation letter. No? So I wouldn't blame Nea, I wouldn't blame Eigen, the 2 Nobel Prize winners. I've been just stopped over in their institutes, wanted to talk about my topics. They wanted me to write on a research letter, a research proposal, the same for Biobaumer, biological psychology. He has written the first textbook about the nowadays university topic, biological psychology. And yep, and so yes, they were very open, because they didn't care if I have a university degree or not, but they wanted an explicit written paper for a research proposal, and this is fair, more than fair. I didn't do it for different reasons, but I decided then to try to study, and so, but this was fair. I have to say this in this way, and not only. But later on, when I tried then to find the professor, most professors didn't know me, and so in the area I have been, so they didn't want to talk to me about it. And in Copenhagen, in the University of Copenhagen, I found scientists interested and a little bit involved in the sting series. So I tried to get with them in touch, talking a little bit about something, so that I can try to impress them a little bit, to write this letter and ask them for the letter. So starting with a kind of sharing some research topics. So I've introduced my ideas. They have been new in this way in my time. Now they are not new. About using the 11-dimensional space-time theory as a tool to bring religion and science together, and as a tool to define scientifically and explain scientifically something what is called miracle and cannot be explained, by seeing in the other dimensions a reality. It was very new in my time, so I was one of the first to propose this kind of explanation. Nowadays it's very common in the theoretical physics, and they do already research about it. They do argue with this. It's very common nowadays, and they do look for the realities in higher dimensions, like 5th dimension, 6th dimension, 7th dimension. But it was new for me, so I tried to impress him a little bit, and trying to show that I know what means GOUT theories, G-O-U-T theories, great unification theory, with the outcome of strings, etc. So it's not really so difficult, but it's most people do not understand the significance and the reality of such theories when they are not too high in physics and science. So then he has written me a recommendation letter, and I could go to university to apply for it. So I've been to a university in Braunschweig about studying physics and related things, later biophysics. It was then valid for physics, mathematics, and all subjects related to being part of physics, like biophysics, an example. So then you have this. So I've focused on the possibility of explaining spiritual phenomena in a rational and experimental way of scientific language. This was one of my topics for the university examen. So there it was a little bit, so I've contacted also others, and in the way of preparing for the research, I figured out also some people with extraordinary abilities, talking about the huge difficulties they had on both sides of the Cold War in Russia. A little bit more maybe, they try to over-control more and try to make more secrecy about it, and so force you to live separate, not to talk to others, etc., and try to force you to use your abilities for the state. But this kind of tendency existed as well in the United States, and the worst of it was, of course, the MK Ultra research. I don't have to go into it because all of you know what I'm talking about, or what kind of horror I talk about. But yes, so Not sure if this was if I was so good at this exam or whatever, but I don't think so. I've passed the exam, and I don't know what's now related to the red point in reality, but the red point on Interpol may explain some difficulties, and it may be used as a tool for abuse because of my enemyship with Radio Deep State. This can be, yes, and probably is. And here in Brazil, it's now there's a problem with lack of civilization level. So there is a lack of education. There's a huge lack of education, and so they are more easier to manipulate. And when you look at for civilization levels, and when you have two levels difference, and that's easy to have here in Brazil because more than 80% are on the lowest civilization level. After my definition, I don't want to go too much in details. So everyone civilized is considered an enemy, and so I'm civilized already, not holy yet, but I'm civilized already, and so there are a lot of problems now, and I've had in the last town, Marilia, it's called the town of love, but I didn't experience it. They really hated me from the beginning on and considered me an enemy. The red point may be an animator. Radio Germany will definitely animate them because, yes, they, in a small talk with somebody, and always responsible for me in the German consulates in China, talked it to me face to face, under 4 eyes and 4 ears. We will do everything that you don't get a feet on the ground. And they did, and they tried everything in China. When I've tried them when I re-entered, so they declared me an enemy of the state on pressure of this Radio Germany. It was not really a Chinese idea, but they cooperated, and so I got a job opportunity, and I've given them the passport to apply for the job, and they really convinced the police department there to keep my passport and not giving it back to me. So in this way I couldn't work. I didn't get any work permission because this was supposed to be for a work permission, etc. It's weird stuff we are going on, but on pressure of Radio Germany. China has done it, and I've been very critical to China, and have been even allowed by the owner of this private college there in Canton to teach whatever subject I want when it involves English as well. And this would be I've chosen, and he said okay. Going also into the topic corruption and organized crime, how to prevent it, and what is the situation in China, and the way of organized crime forms, institutional corruption, corruption networks, and corruption mentality. How is the definition, how to define it, how to see it, and what possibilities exist to destroy it. Yes, it was quite interesting, more interesting than speaking just English with them, but I couldn't get my passport back because the special envoy from Germany for me demanded that I don't get back my passport, and then he pushed for my deportation as enemy of the state of China. They don't want to declare me officially enemy of the state in Germany, so they managed to declare me enemy of the state in China. Whatever. So so I have to speculate. I don't want to go too much into everything of it. Maybe also it's about a special dream. I have joined once fakirs. Fakir and dervish are synonyms, stand for the same thing. One is in Parsi, the other in Arab Hindi. Fakir, Arab Hindi for poor man, nothing more. Fakir is a poor man. When you are poor and you say, I am a fakir, you are right, you are a poor man. If you can sleep on nail beds, I don't know. You can try. And dervish means poor man in Parsi, in the Iranian language. The dervish is more a Parsian word, but it's related to the same thing, what's also called Sufi. And Sufi orders the spiritual path in Islam. And so with this kind of training, so I've been with a refi order, more known and more attached to them. There are different kind of orders, and the reefer orders, they are specialized on extraordinary ability in the way of physical abilities. No? And I've joined one of the these groups, and in my travel as a wandering dervish later on, I've had once what they call Laila al-Qadri. There's even a surah about it. Laila al-Qadri is in translation the night of powers or the night of destination. That's a little bit more a night of powers, but the interpretational translation goes more into night of destiny. No? When the angels and spirits come down, and the night will be peaceful, and it will be peace until the next morning. And yep. So on one of these nights, I had a quite interesting meeting in the night in the dream with somebody very highly skilled in science, no? So making me realize that I know nothing. Thinking before, I know really something, no? So and then being confronted with somebody from the spiritual realm or whatever, talking to me in a scientific language that's much too high for me, but in a strict logical term, and the scientific parts I could realize and know and understand, it was all scientific, was correct. And the other things I simply were not good enough. So yeah, and some of the things he told me I haven't known before have been proved later on as true. And yep, and I wanted to bring the science together with religion. I wanted to do this research, show what is it about the other dimensions, no? And I've got even officially asked my teacher, dervish teacher, for it, and he said, okay, you get the special permission. You are the special envoy to organize this research. You want it, you get it. But nobody will really take you seriously, and let's see, maybe you get it. And he was right. Before I was always thinking, yes, you have some proofs that these things exist, and then people will be happy about it, want to do research, and when you show there is already a successful research, so they'll be happy to open the research, and they will want to talk about it. No. Like one Professor Sinzer from religion science in the Berlin University said it once like this to me in a small talk. So when you explain religion, then all the religion administrations will be useless. It will be shown that all the religious administrations talk bullshit, and they don't explain anything, and they are not needed at all. And this brings, they won't allow it, because it's their power. And on the other side, you need them because you need people to control, to bring some kind of discipline and organization into the people, and to have some benefits for the general thing, so that they follow some kind of morality. And yep, that's it. Yep, so I don't know really what's the red point about it. I have to speculate about it, but I still wanna the fifth dimension research, no? Yeah, this I want. And the trouble here is really fucked up, and Marilia, so the people oppose me because they really hate me, but it's no internet access, no computer access, not in schools, not in churches. The library blocked me. They have free access. They blocked every program. They censorship hacked into my program. My accounts have been erased and banned, what I have opened in the library, in the free account, and it was only for me. All the others could use the computer without any interruption, no? On the free library of Marilia's town. Then in the Ibis Hotel, they let me in at once, and then they had, from the beginning on, a dispute. Why we should allow them to use our guest computer. But when you buy a breakfast, it's very usual and common that they allow you to use a guest computer. You buy a breakfast, no? Buffet. And that's ordinary in Ibis hotels. But in the end, they have prohibited me to use their computer again. And so it was the same in the Omax hotel there in Marilia. They allowed me to use it for the receptionist, friendly receptionist. But then the manager got interfered, and he told them, do not allow this guy to use our computer. So that's a little bit the situation in Marilia, and some people called the police to get me out and transport me out, so that I'm not in the town, etc., but they couldn't get through. Yep, that's the situation. And a little bit then to the surveillors. So when you are confronted with the people, and some local police officers come to you and tell you, yeah, but we have to get them out because everybody wants them out. We have to do something, put them in jail for one day, but everybody wants it, so we need to do it. When they argue like this, I appreciate it that you don't go along this argument line, but analyze the arguments. And you have in the most towns, you have a corruption network with the upper class and the richest from the town inside of it, working together also with high-ranking police officers, an example, doing favors for each other. So when he says everyone, then he doesn't talk about everyone. So because the receptionists in the hotel, they had no problem with me. They even were by themselves upset, but they couldn't do anything about it because they don't want to get fired, they need the job. And so it's not really the majority, it's the corruption network of the upper class of the region. That's it. And so when the police argue with this and do them as everyone, it shows already that they have a cooperation with a local corruption network, number one. Then is a question, number two. Do they argue because, that's open with their arguments, do they argue because they push them to act? Or if they told them it's better not to allow me to use a computer, or better to get me out of the town, they wouldn't tell you that they want it in your face. No, they wouldn't do it because they know that's against the law, and against how it's going on. No? But it's a sign that they at least, when the police officers, local police officers argue like this with you, then it's a sign that they cooperate at least with the local corruption networks and have done already some favors. If they are the leading force in trying to get me out, or the other parts of the local corruption network, that remains a question, and this question remains open. That's a little bit of side mark to it. Okay, may the logic be with you, and take care. Logic and common sense is a superpower, and you may be watched, and get a red notice on Interpol to be watched with your dangerous common sense. See you.